Ladies and gentlemen, a great debate comes from interaction, conflict, and argument.
And here on the Great Debaters Contest, we do not raise our voice, we improve our arguments.
And all this is on Kenya's #1 debate platform. I am your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. The motion on the table today is African governments should erect border fences to secure their citizenry.
Making their appearance for the first time on the Great Debaters Contest, we have St. Dominic Njeng'u Secondary School, who will be proposing the motion.
And opposing the motion, we have Kiaguthu Boys High School.
Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
A nation without borders is not a nation. There must be a war across the Southern Cross. That's a statement by Mark Donald Trump. Ian Degwa to represent St. Dominic Njeng'u Secondary School, ready to propose the motion that spells African government should erect border fences to secure their citizenry. First, we must understand the meaning of the term citizenry. Citizenry is the act of legally belonging to a particular country. On the other hand, border fences are walls erected across the borders of a particular country. With no waste of time, I get into my first point. And my first point is, a country should erect border fences to ensure that there are no nomadic pastoralists who are intruders to the country, who bring in their cattle which have diseases. For example, the foot and mouth disease, which is infectious to cattle. On the other hand, when a country has a border, it will prevent stealing of their property. In addition to that, when a country is erecting borders, it will create job opportunities to the citizens of that particular country. So, when this is done, it will reduce poverty, and it will also reduce the number of theft cases, and hence raise the living standards of the people. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, a song has been sung by many, but I'm here with another version that will change everything. From the great lands of Murang'a County, Kiaguthu School presents Munene Njoroge. Here is a strong antagonist of the motion that states African governments should erect borders fences to secure their citizenry. Let us understand what we are talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. Africa is a continent. A government is the activity, particular system, method, or manner of controlling a country. African government refers to all the activities, system, methods, and manner of controlling the African state. Erecting borders basically means putting up boundaries between the African countries. Citizenry basically means all citizens of a particular country. What am I saying here, ladies and gentlemen? That all African countries or African governments should not erect border fences to secure their citizenry. Why? What should they do? Are there options? Number 1, technological advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, putting up border fences is a crude method. What we really need to do as Africans is to advance our technology in matters security in our countries. Let us take a flight to America, where the President Donald Trump had suggested the construction of a wall between America and Mexico. According to AmericaVoice.org, building a wall along the US-Mexico border is a bad idea. Ladies and gentlemen, it would stifle the economic activity and drain money, finances that we need. Now, if we introduce such policies in our Africa, bearing in mind that in Africa we have most of our third countries, most of the countries are third world countries. So what do we mean? That we are going to create and we are going to have money that is going to be wasted, that is going to be put in place to build these boundaries. We want to create jobs for our youth. We want to fund schools. We want to improve our health standards. We want to build roads. Judge Minor, SDG number 1, we want to eradicate poverty at all costs. But when we come and construct boundaries between our countries, it will not change things at all. Now, in addition, the same report says that the future of border security lies on the manpower and the smart technology, not the mediocre defenses. Secondly, there are better ways of ensuring security in our African countries. A flight back to Kenya and Somalia. On March 20th, the Kenyan and Somalia suspended the proposed project of constructing a fence between Kenya and Somalia. Why? Because they wanted to pave a way where these two governments can have bilateral talks. We need to keep Africa moving. We need to move our Africa because we need to safeguard these. And this we're going to do by advancing our technology and by having the bilateral talks. I rest my case. Monene Njoroge, my name.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Mary Kagai, St. Dominic, Njeng'u, and I'm here to oppose the motion which says that African governments should elect border fences to secure their citizenry. First of all, I would like to tell everyone of a person who once told me that not everything that counts is counted, and not everything that is counted counts. And sometimes the smallest deeds which we ignore are the ones that matter. We have tried to secure our citizenry in many ways, even through technology, but still we have a problem of insecurity. So why don't we try something new and construct these boundaries? On to my first point. Through construction of boundary fences, we shall be able to eradicate illegal immigration of people into Africa, thus helping to reduce terrorism. I would like to give this example, like if there was a boundary between Somalia and Kenya, maybe terrorism would be lesser than it is today. My second point is that easy administration that is free from foreign influence. Referring to the Bible, during the time of Nehemiah, they constructed a wall, and this greatly helped to reduce foreign influence. Thus, there was easy administration. On to my next point, it helps to reduce hostility between countries. For example, in 2003, there was a dispute between Botswana and Zimbabwe, and when they constructed a boundary, this dispute lessened. So I would like to urge my opponents to close on to our side and support the motion which states that African governments should elect border fences to secure their citizens. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for rebuttal.
Now Christ weeps and he whispers in my ears and tells me, Peter, you have to show your friends the way. I have to show my opponents on my right side the truth that lies beyond the boundaries of imaginations, rather. Now, I had somebody come here and say job opportunities. I wonder, how are job opportunities involved with securing the citizenry of our country and Africa? Simply, it was in vain. Now, from the great Kiaguthu Boys School stands Peter Njeng'u, who is a strong antagonist of the motion of today. Now, what a great day we have today. And we are debating about boundaries, something that has been happening recently. Now, on to my first point. Erection of African boundaries is a physical representation of disunity. Clearly, we can see this and we can prove it. Now, imagine Kenya and Somalia having an erected boundary. This is totally a problem. A tragedy to each and every, to both the countries. Now, in my thought, I think that if borders were built between Kenya and Somalia, now we are going to increase the more attacks from Somalia, and Kenya will have to fight back. We will not save anything, will not secure the citizenry. In fact, we are going to put it into more danger. Now, please grasp the statistics I'm giving you and the diminutives, put them in your mind and please digest them and see the truth that lies. Now, on to my second point. The question is not whether the boundaries will secure us. The question is for how long? Now, do you imagine Kenya building a boundary and securing us for more than 3 years? Now, research was done by the conversation.com, and it says that the California boundary took about 8 Canadian dollar billion to construct and to maintain it for only 20 years. It will take the Canadians, it will take 20 Canadian billion to maintain it. Imagine, those are Canadians. Imagine a country like Kenya building a boundary which is going to cost them billions of money while they own China 3 trillion without remembering that the other countries, if we add the total lump sum, we are going to get about 4.6 trillion. And yet you propose that we should build boundaries to secure the citizenry? No, let me give you what we should do rather. Now, we should use military protection. What we are using now, it's more efficient than building boundaries. In fact, let me tell you, if you build boundaries, terrorists will eventually know the secret behind them. And eventually, they will break them into patches. And again, terror will be in our country. Let me tell you this. If we take military protection, we are more safer. Another thing we should take as Africans is the one implementation of an initiative known as Nyumba Kumi. If it is taken by all countries in Africa and embraced, we are going to have rather a good continent. Now, take my advice, my opponents. Now, Rihanna tells you it's impossible. So, if she joins my hand, who are you not to? Join our side. I rest my case.
The proposition has been asked, what is the guarantee that the border fences that will be put up will secure the country and improve administration? The opposers, on the other hand, have been asked, after stating that a wall between Kenya and Somalia will lead to the terrorists knowing what our security measures are, what exactly do they mean by that? Is it really that we will be in more danger? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
A wise man once said, before you do something, you should know how to handle the risks. Do not do anything which you cannot handle the risks. The question that has been asked, let's take the example of Kenya. Kenya has tried every ways to try to solve its problems, but it has not been able to do so. Why? Let's say, for example, if we construct a wall, that wall will act as something to discourage the people from other countries, saying, the people of Kenya don't want us to go there. Okay, we will not even have a share of what we have in our country. I, Chandamati from St. Dominic Njeng'u Secondary School, wants to propose strongly to this motion because of several reasons. One reason is, if a wall is erected, there will be a high reduction of insecurity. People like terrorists and ghetto rustlers and etc. will be discouraged to get into the country. Why? Because there is a wall and there is the security for the KDF guarding the borders. That will discourage them from getting into the country. The second thing is, a fence along the border, will mean a reduction in imports and exports of illegal goods to that particular country. Let's take example of Kenya. Like a time when milk from Uganda was added some harmful preservatives, was sold to the North Central. That milk was harmful to people. If we erect a fence along the Kenya border, that will be reduced because there is no way those people will get into the country, and they miss to get noticed, and effective actions will be taken. The third is, fights of border lines will be reduced between countries. They will agree that this is the passage of our border, and that is all. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
Question asked, what does it mean that by building a wall and its effect to what we have? And the answer is, terrorists do not sleep simply because a wall has been constructed. it is a motivating factor for them to actually get to know what they can do better. And it is a motivating factor for them to get better and to get other ways of getting into the borders. So whether you build a wall or not does not mean that terrorists will not access your country. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to sincerely show my gratitude to my proposers for their contribution in this motion, but I'm not going to agree with you on some things. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, my name is Foro Stephen Kifwe, Kiaguthu Boys High School, and I stand in front of you today to simply, as an antagonist of this motion that states African governments should erect borders, fences to secure their citizenry for the following reasons. My brother here said very clearly, during the inauguration of the 45th President of the United States of America on the 20th of January 2017, outside Capitol building in Washington, D.C., the President-elect Donald J. Trump, in his inauguration speech, said very clearly that the first thing he will do when he gets into presidency is to build a border fence between USA and Mexico. It sounds very good, doesn't it? But listen to this. According to the Legalization Act of the US, this is what they came up with. They arouse conflicts on who is going to pay for the construction of the wall. And very obviously, it is the US government. It will create conflict. A wall that was supposed to secure the citizens of Mexico and US now brings conflict, especially when it comes to payment, because the US government actually pays for this. And what does Trump do? Trump himself increased the fines of every good getting into the US from Mexico by 20% as a way of get back. So this war that was supposed to secure the citizenry will become a source of conflict. And if that is happening in a first world country, what about in a third world country, in countries like Africa? My worthy brother here has also spoken of the wall in Somalia and Kenya. And he said on the 20th of March, the project was stopped, so that both countries should have bilateral talks. Yes? And instead of this, instead of putting and erecting borders, why can we not increase the security in these borders? Why can we not enhance regional cooperation between each and every kind of these states? Because I believe that it is not the only way, borders are not the only way we can secure citizenship. We can do it by enhancing the military action of countries, especially in Eastern Africa. It is my belief that if these countries, especially of Africa, unite together, because borders will be like a physical representation of the disunity that has been displayed. We need unity. It has come to a point where the only way we can use to secure the citizenry is by unification, not by erecting borders. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, my name is Foro Stephen Kifwe, Kiaguthu Boys High School. Have a lovely time. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute for a final submission.
A house can't be called a complete house without the roof. So, similarly, a country can't be called a complete country without the border. To my dear opposers on this other side, why are soldiers recruited every year and still there is insecurity in our country? Why? So, we find that borders prevent intruders from getting to a country and preventing them from running away. They are caught up by the law enforcers. Thus, I would urge my dear opposers to just cross the floor and join hands in proposing the motion that says African governments should erect border fences to secure their citizenry. I rest my case.
Opposers, you have 1 minute for a final submission.
Wow, I am back. And I want to live in a society which is peaceful. I want to see my daughter live in a peaceful society. But I believe that we need peace, we need security, we need to be secure in all aspects. And in Africa, it's going to be start with us. Now, what is the action plan, ladies and gentlemen? Number 1, improve our technology on matters security. Number 2, creating rooms for talks between our countries. Number 3, military protection, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4, public knowledge. Number 5, international relations. And once you do that, Africa will prosper. Africa will go far. We're not going to be hearing of matters insecurity, of matters we're not secure, of matters we need to get money to build borders? No, because we believe that Africa, we can move, we can make things move. May God bless you as we fight, and may God bless Africa as we remain secure. Thank you. I rest my case.
So African governments should erect borders. That means it's one end, why we should do that. And then the result is securing the citizenry. And so for the opposers, you're supposed to tell us this border thing won't work. Probably there are better ways of doing this. And I think you've mentioned a few examples like military and the Nyumba Kumi and the likes, which is commendable. And I think I'm addressing Peter, who gave those particular examples. And I think it was a creative way of trying to tell us that there will be an increase of attacks if we put a wall, because terrorists will become more brighter to think much better, which Stephen as well tried to give in. And that was commendable. What is outstanding about you, Kiaguthu boys, is that you're all good speakers, and I think that's amazing. The debate element, and I think it's just Fatu comes very powerfully on the stage, giving quite recent examples and submissions as well. And I think you're also very confident. I think I've addressed Peter. Stephen as well. I think you come to reason with us why we need to avoid this whole thing about creating a border. And I think for you as a team, that was good teamwork, very much commendable. To St. Dominic, I don't want to go to the specifics, but I think in terms of role playing, it was quite fair, okay? Because as a second speaker, for example, you're the cross-examiner. I think Chanda understood that they should answer the questions, and even the first speaker. What I would want to encourage you is we check on certain particulars, and if you visit even some of the debates we've done before, some of the instructions we have given, especially for you, Ian, when you're starting the team, you better even fake a confidence, all right? By looking at people, getting some energy so that at least they can be, the rest of the team members can pick up. So I want to say that this was encouraging, it was a good start, and we want to believe it can be even better in the next region, in the next season, all right? All the best.
And now, down to the numbers. St. Dominic Njeng'u Secondary School, you managed to garner 65%. Let's appreciate them. Kiaguthu Boys High School, the judges awarded you 71%, making you the winners of our debates. Congratulations to both schools. That was a good debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Franklin once said, "Well done is better than well said." With that, we'd like to congratulate both teams for doing justice to the motion. Here the Great Debaters Contest. Remember, the conversation around sustainable development goals continues with the hashtag GDC for SDGs across our social media platforms. Here the Great Debaters Contest. I have been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. Catch you next time.